going on, everybody? It's Mr. 560 Gaming here. Another video. This is part 2 to my little synopsis on my little review or synopsis on the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover event that's going on now on the CW with all the Arrowverse TV shows. Well, I can say Black Lightning now. The Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, Batwoman. What else we got? I think that's it. And like I said, Black Lightning. Yeah, 6 shows. Crossover 6 shows. But it's actually crossing over. It's actually involving a lot of other shows and things like that. So for the most part, this is actually part 2 of what I was talking about. I'm going to talk about the last couple episodes of the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Now I know you're probably thinking, well, you've already talked about episodes 1 and 2. So what other episodes should you be talking about besides 3? Well, I'm going to discuss the Black Lightning episode. See the Black Lightning episode over here? Over there? I don't know how this damn camera works. But technically, because this was earlier this week, it's now, it should be like Thursday or whatever by the time you see this. So on Monday, the Black Lightning episode dropped. Tuesday, Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 3 dropped, which is where the time slot for the Flash would usually be. But what happened was, honestly, the Black Lightning episode was technically a part of the Crisis on Infinite Earths thing. I mean, had the red skies and all that other stuff, and the whole thing about the antimatter stuff. It was basically an actual part of the Crisis on Infinite Earth. So if Tuesday night was part 3, like where the Flash should be, then technically Monday night was like 0.5. So there's like 3.5. I don't know how you want to call it. All I know is that's what they did, and that's how it played out. That's how I feel about it myself. Now, for the most part, everything that I talked about before in the last part about my likes or dislikes with the overall show, the overall thing is like with them talking too much and this, that, and the other. A lot of that stuff that I was talking about still applies now, but I actually have some regular likes and dislikes for this. I'm not going to go over any other key talking points or talk about anything that's being rumored or anything like that. I don't want to speculate. You know what I mean? Like right now, I don't want to speculate too much because I'm still trying to get my head wrapped around what I actually saw at the end of Crisis on Infinite Earth, because this is the thing about these shows. When it seems like the shows are being too dry and like nothing really thrilling is happening, but things are exciting, they're just kind of like stuff is like taking place where sometimes you just see the characters just standing around when there's so many of them on the screen at once and they really have no purpose of what to do. Everybody's just standing around like, what do we do next? You know what I mean? Like, then they throw in this crazy ass twist, and they get things going, and they drop a whole bunch of stuff. There's times where you'll watch a show, an episode of any one of the Arrowverse shows, and throughout the whole show, nothing's been going on, nothing exciting is happening. But you know that this episode is a crucial part or a crucial episode in the series because of the day it falls on, the number of the episode it is, and what's happened before. So you're like expecting something to happen, but they kind of keep you in the loop as to, well, what's going to happen? And then they finally hit you with it, with a damn cliffhanger, and then you got like a 2-week waiting period for the next part. You're like, oh, dog, 2 weeks? Come on, son. Come on, son. Come on. So that's basically what happened at the end of part 3 of Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was like, holy shit, what the fuck was that? What was that? Alright, before I really get started and get into it, I just want to make sure you guys know that if you like the content that I'm putting out, please don't hesitate to like, share, subscribe, add my video to a playlist, leave a comment, you know what I mean, tell the world about him, and don't forget to support me because, I mean, if you like it, you want to support, you can. It's up to you. It's an option. The support info will be in the descriptions, in the description box and stuff like that, or probably in one of the pinned comments. All right. before I really begin, if you've been enjoying Crisis on Infinite Earths right now, the crossover, in the comments, just put in there, this is the best crossover yet. I think it's one of the best. I don't think it is the best. In my opinion, I think the Crisis, the Earth X crossover was probably the best one to me. I think that was the one that was like the craziest. And then before that, my favorite before that was the Arrow versus Flash crossover. That was like, yeah, that was really good. That was dope too. Elseworlds, it was okay. It didn't really blow me away, but it was good for the most part. It was funny, but it wasn't really like incredible, insane. But this crossover is doing it some justice. I think that they could have put this crossover before Elseworlds, and Elseworlds would have worked better. Does that make sense to you? Alright, well, let's get started. So, what I'm going to talk about is basically my likes and dislikes for the episodes that we've seen thus far. Now, the Black Lightning episode, how do I point to this dude? Left is right, right is left. Alright, so the Black Lightning episode basically took place right before like his planet got hit by the wave. And this is why I said it's connected to the Crisis series, but it's not an actual part of the Crisis on Infinite Earths because nobody else is in the Black Lightning episodes but them. But the episode primarily revolved around Jenn, around his daughter Jenn, because she's basically a being of pure light, of pure energy. And because the antimatter wave or the storm itself was energy, it was messing with her and put her in this kind of flux between the different realms and different worlds. So she has a way to connect through her. She has a way to connect to the other worlds, to the other realities, without actually opening a portal or anything like that. I think it's going to be a superpower that she learns how to do on her own pretty soon. Why she was primarily affected by this stuff and the other two Jenns that she was talking to wasn't affected by it is beyond me. Like they were, I can tell that they were, because they were all meet up in this like little black void. So I could tell that they all were affected by it, but you could see the other girls' stories playing out more so than you could see the Jenn that we normally look at, which I have deduced that the Black Lightning from the television, from the TV show that we watch, is actually from Earth 73, and I will explain that in a moment. Later, not in a moment, but I'll explain it later. You're like, for Earth 73, how did that come about? I'll tell you. I kind of put two and two together. All right, so with the Black Lightning episode, not much happened. Everybody was just sitting there watching Jenn go through the motions and stuff. I mean, you could see all these different things happening with Jenn and what she was dealing with on different sides. But I understand that it was one of those turning points because in Black Lightning, which honestly I'm going to tell you like this, Black Lightning, the show itself has gotten so much better. I'll go into that a little bit more, but I just wanted to say that real quick. But in this episode, this is a turning point for Jenn. Because up until now, even I'm sitting here guessing like, yo, is she going to still ride out with this Odell character? Or is she going to like turn around and stand up and fight for, you know, the people and her whatever? Because honestly, I think right now, Jenn is the most powerful meta in Freeland. I think Jenn is the most powerful meta, with Black Lightning being like next, like second next powerful. Aside from that, I think that this is that turning point in which Jenn she's made her ultimate decision that she's not going to go down a certain route because her father's teachings have actually impacted her in a way. Now she gets to see the relevance of what her father, Black Lightning, has been teaching her, not just about herself and how she should conduct herself, how she should think, and but also how she should maintain the powers that she was given. Jenn makes her decision. Earth 73 vanishes. Right before it vanishes, Black Lightning is whisked away. I thought it was I thought it was the monitor that pulled him away. But later on, you come to find out that that's not actually true. And up until this point, I was wondering, well, when the hell is the monitor going to go and talk to Black Lightning and have him come onto the Wave Rider and do his thing? I mean, I've seen him in the posters, I've seen him in the pictures, so he's going to be on there. Like, how big or how significant of a role is he playing? He wasn't announced as one of the 7 Paragons. Okay, so then maybe his role is not going to be that significant, but I don't know. I didn't know. So I'm going to go into I'm going to go into some of my likes and dislikes. I actually wrote these down because, I want these talking points to kind of last. So for Black Lightning, my dislikes are: 1, the overall plot of that episode. I did not like it. That's right. I understand that it was meant to show Jenn in the different paths so she could end up with dealing with Odell, but I don't think the execution of it was done well. 2, why was Jefferson pulled out by Pariah, as we learn later, but not visited by the monitor? Like I said, I was wondering, where's the monitor? When's the monitor going to come see him? Because think about it, the monitor went to all these other heroes, pulled them out of their universes, right? And a lot of those heroes, they weren't the Paragons, but they were still there to help fight. The next one is, I didn't like that the whole episode was basically in 3 locations: the pit, the Pierce home, and Anissa's house. Now I can understand why, because we were looking at the perspective from Jenn and the different areas that she usually traverses, but I think they could have done a little bit more with the episode. I mean, there's literally no fight scenes in the episode. There were, but not with the Jenn of Earth 73 that we watch. Jenn's dialogue, like in costume, like in her costume, the Jenn 73 was way too cheesy, and that was a very sore spot because she's gotten better as an actress on the show, and it came off like she didn't believe the lines that she said in her costume more than she did with her evil counterpart lines. Like, her evil counterpart lines, she took the traditional mad black woman and added superpowers to it, and I don't give a fuck attitude. That part of her, she seemed to like and enjoy those lines more. The next thing I didn't like is that if there was a Black Lightning on Earth 1, and this should have been less of something I didn't like, and more of a question about, I'm confused about it. But if there was a Black Lightning on Earth 1, and tons of metas running around Freeland, why have they not mentioned it at all? Why have they not mentioned it all this time on the other CW shows in the Arrowverse? Like, why have they not even alluded to that? They have no problem talking about all the other major cities and the DC comics mythos and universes. They have no problem talking about Midway, Star City, Central City, Gotham, Metropolis, National City. They mention all these cities, okay? They don't speak not near thing about Freeland. Maybe Freeland was not on their map, but you would think with tons of metas running around this city, Freeland is like a version of Atlanta. I would think it's closer to Atlanta than being, and it's actually recorded in Atlanta if I'm not mistaken. Freeland's a lot more closer to Atlanta than it is to like any other kind of, black metropolis, in the country. So that kind of bugged me. I didn't particularly like the fact that, like once they started bringing him into this, I just didn't like the fact. Okay, so that was really the gamut of what I didn't like. There wasn't much to the episode for me to go into and dive deep into. It was really talk. Jenn did all the work. It was basically an episode about her. I think as time goes on, when they have episodes that primarily focus on one character, they'll make it a whole lot better. They've done that with Anissa. When she became Blackbird. Anyway, the likes that I liked about the Black Lightning show. 1, the episode was actually part of the Crisis storyline. Like, they didn't just position it that way, though. In all honesty, they could have removed a few extra scenes from the Black Lightning episode and added in a few bits from the Crisis storyline. But then again, that would make it so that Earth 1 would burn without that plot point being fully fleshed out. Because we see in, as I go on, when I start talking about Crisis on Infinite Earth, we see that they actually, that Earth 1 actually is burnt out. It actually dies. So, you know, it's one of those ones that was killed off. But anyway, another thing that I liked was Black Lightning didn't die. You know, like, I knew he was going to be part of the Crisis event, but it still felt good seeing him whisked away at the last moment. And the next thing that I liked was Black Lightning did die. At least the Earth 1 version did. I mean, he kind of died like a coward too, being shot in the head and cowering like he wasn't part of the resistance. I mean, maybe he wasn't, but so what? Man up. That's why he got shot in the head. Bye-bye, bro. See ya. What I also liked was there was no mention of Tobias Whale at all. You know what, honestly, don't get me wrong, Tobias Whale is a ridiculous villain. Like, I think he's one of the top villains on any of these TV shows out there. Like, it took a moment for me to really see how much of a villain he could be, but this dude is vicious, and I think they're making him even more vicious than what, because he's basically like Kingpin. He's supposed to be DC's versions of Kingpin, at least in my mind. The way they position him, he's like a black Kingpin, although he's an albino. But they got a lot of the same MOs. They got a lot of the same, you know, mindset. But, you know, this guy's Tobias Whale is ridiculous. But they didn't mention him at all, which I kind of like. You know, we can go an episode without mentioning Tobias and how much you hate him and stuff like that. They didn't mention. Okay. I did like seeing 3 different versions of Jenn. I think I said that before. Aside from that, you know, like I said, the episode was pretty much cut and dry, kind of straightforward. But knowing that Jenn is truly made of pure energy and could probably take that form at will in future episodes, kind of really opens up the possibilities. So when you see this, you'll be like, yeah, Jenn could really go crazy, and with her abilities now that she's been pure energy. So I just want to know if she was actually a part when the wave hit and she was in that energy form. Was she dissipated and swept away, or is she still just energy? I want to know that. Let's talk about Crisis Episode 3. So in Crisis Episode 3, if you haven't seen it, big spoiler alerts. I've been spoiling Black Lightning, so you might as well just, you know, not worry about it. But in Crisis Episode 3, it wasn't a very, like I said before, it wasn't very eventful until they got to the end. It progressed the story, but it didn't offer much of anything else. It wasn't a complete and total letdown. Like I said, it wasn't a complete and total letdown until the plot twist at the end. And I'm going to explain the plot twist at the end, which was really freaking dope. Like, shit, like, honestly, I was like, wow, I didn't see that coming. I should have, but I didn't. So let me go into what I disliked about the Crisis the Crisis Episode 3, or Part 3, if you want to call it. I didn't like that the Monitor went out like a bitch. He's supposed to be a god, right? You know, but he seems like a really low-powered god. When you think of a god, of a sentient being, of something of an omnipotent, omniscient being, honestly, right now, the Monitor does not come to mind. He really seems like a punk. I mean, even if you could call him a god, he doesn't fit it to me. He's been doing mostly parlor tricks with portals. That should be a game, parlor tricks with portals. There's been no real display of power, save for some teleportation and a really dumb final battle with the anti-monitor possessed Harbinger. So on top of Lila becoming the Harbinger, which is like you gave the sneaky ass woman some powers that made her even more sneaky, and then she gets Then she gets taken over and possessed by the Anti-Monitor. The next thing I didn't like was that the Harbinger didn't really seem to fit, in my opinion. Not until she was taken over. I think they could have possessed her earlier. Not to say that, you know, her character wasn't vital to the storyline of the role, because she did have her story, but all that stuff about her, what she was doing, the Monitor could have done. For the most part, if you think about it. Another thing that I didn't like, they didn't let Supergirl and Batwoman fight. Come on, man. Like, then again, they wouldn't have anywhere actually really to fight. Even, I mean, except on the Wave Rider, because everything was disappearing. So, you know, but still, Supergirl has real fighting skills right now. I mean, she's been doing a lot of training in the DEO. Okay, there's times where she actually is fighting some of these superpowered beings, and she actually has to go toe to toe, mano a mano. It doesn't always use her superpowers. So it had been a real battle. It had been a real battle because her not having powers due to the kryptonite wouldn't have been a total loss. So she honestly would have been able to take advantage of that, using that. And remember, her cape is actually a weapon. So, you know, Mon-El taught her how to use her cape as a weapon. So, can Batwoman use her cape as a weapon? Probably, but not like Supergirl's. Another thing I didn't like, Brandon Routh seemed to be less like Superman from Superman Returns and more like Ray Palmer in a Superman suit. Maybe it's just my bias because I tend to like Ray Palmer. I tend to like the fact that Ray Palmer is a bumbling, intelligent, he's not an idiot, he's just a bumbling, intelligent dude, you know, who's very brave, but he's just very, you know, he's very brave, but he's very naive, you know what I mean? He's like that dumb, courageous kid in school who's not really dumb, who's actually super smart, but he seems dumb because he's very naive. And I like the fact that the Atom is basically a cross between Ant-Man and Iron Man. I just don't think he should have donned that Superman Returns suit. I mean, I can understand they're trying to show the difference between the worlds, but at this point, I believe he just wasn't. No, it's a no for me. I tried to dive back into that character, but it's a no for me. And you can see that he was struggling to get himself back into that Superman mode. But he did his best, so I'm not going to be mad at him. Another thing I didn't like is why no Killer Frost voice and those super cool white eyes. Like, CW is seriously robbing me of my fantasy. And what is my fantasy? To see Killer Frost fight in Crisis on Infinite Earths in full Killer Frost mode. Like, I know she's still Killer Frost, and you know they got these nanites now that, you know, keep her eyes a certain way, but come on, I liked the white Killer Frost eyes, and I loved the voice. Like, it separated her as far as her, I just liked it. Okay, and I really would like to see her go full Killer Frost mode, where she's like the newer versions of Killer Frost, where she gets like where she pretty much turns herself into the Ice Queen. She just full on embraces the ice and the cold. Even though John Jones is one of the Paragons, he really served no purpose this episode. To me, it's a complete waste of the Martian Manhunter. I mean, no fight scenes. Well, nobody really had fight scenes, but there was no fight scenes, no use of his mental powers, nothing. The next thing I didn't like was that they go to get Oliver's soul back from purgatory, because in the last episode he died, and then they put him in the Lazarus pit to bring him back. They had to actually find a working Lazarus pit on one of these Earths, and they ran into Jonah Hex, which was pretty dope because Jonah Hex and Sarah Lance had a little fight. You could tell Jonah didn't know who she was. He was a different Jonah Hex. He didn't even have the scar, and she gave this dude the scar anyway. She was like, "You gonna get the scar anyway?" Just cut his face. I was like, wow. But after that, after they brought Ollie out, you know, basically he don't have his soul anymore. And you know what? They didn't have to. Wait a minute, did they do that with Thea and with Roy? I think they did. I think Constantine came in and helped give Thea back her soul, and he helped give Roy back his soul. I can't remember, but so he went to purgatory to get his soul, only to not get his soul from purgatory. It's like, why don't you just let him die? Just leave him dead. The next thing I didn't like, Pariah is only supposed to bear witness to tragedy and not get involved. But he gets involved multiple times. I don't like his character that much. I would rather have the wise-ass, sneaky Nash Wells. I understand there's a reason why he's there like that. But, you know what I mean? Like, he has these abilities that he could use at any moment, but he's supposed to just sit there and watch tragedy unfold. Dog, if you're supposed to sit there and watch tragedy unfold, then motherfucker just sit there and watch. It's your fault the anti-monitor is out. He already created his weapon of choice. He was just stuck. He was stuck on our planet. Basically, he was stuck on our planet. Nash let him out. Even though he was already causing problems and with his destructive weapon, Nash actually let this man loose. You know what I mean? They could have found ways to stop, destroy his weapon, and destroy him because he was losing power. Anti-Monitor was losing power, which is why he possessed Harbinger, because he needed another vessel for power. He had no more power. He was weak. Now, this is not a big dislike, but they killed the Flash of my youth. Alright, a little history. I was 13, like 13 or 14, when the original Flash TV show came out in 1990, alright, because I was born in 77, so 13 years later is 1990. And I was pissed it was canceled after one season. I watched that show faithfully, all 21 episodes, okay, and the music reminded me of the music, I think Danny Elfman made the music, the guy who did the music for the Batman movies back then from the 90s, but they could have made a Flash movie, and it would have been dope back then. Especially if they used the special effects that they had back then. Those special effects were actually ahead of their time. So, but yeah, they killed him. We can never go back to those times. All right. The last thing I can say I didn't particularly care for was that there was no big fight scenes at all. There was only 2 small skirmishes. 2 or whatever, 3 maybe, just 2 small skirmishes. Oliver against Diggle, Mia, and what's his name? Constantine in Purgatory. I think really it was just Constantine. I can't remember how that went down, but it didn't last that long, like a few seconds. And then the anti-monitor / Harbinger energy fight on the bridge of the Wave Rider, which, come on. It was like, that's the only thing the anti-monitor can do to show his power? He was like, you'll know what to do, Pariah. And he went out like a bitch. Like I said, he went out like a bitch. A straight up fucking bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was, he's dead. Alright, so what did I like about Crisis episode 3? Well, I like the real Birds of Prey plug in the beginning. Okay, Huntress was talking to Oracle, aka Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl. Here's the hope, and she shows up in a cape and cowl somewhere down the line, and she mentioned Alfred. So, you know, that's the real Birds of Prey storyline. Huntress, Batgirl, and the Canary. But whatever they're doing on TV, I mean in the movies with Harley Quinn, it shouldn't be. And really what it was Margot Robbie popped the idea of them to do the Birds of Prey with Harley Quinn, and it shouldn't have been. Like, honestly, it should have been, they should do shit right. Like, this is why people have little faith in DC movies, because they don't do shit right. But anyway, the next thing I like, Killer Frost with that epic fourth wall break talking about Elongated Man being in his first crossovers. He says something like, Ralph says something like, hey, yeah, I'm here to help in any way that I can. She was like, ignore him, this is his first crossover. I was like, yo, if that wasn't meant to be a fourth wall break, it was. That's how I took it. The next thing I liked was the Lucifer cameo. Although I've barely watched all of 2 episodes of Lucifer, I think it's still great that they brought him into the fold of the Crisis storyline, even if for a moment, given the fact that he's a DC Vertical character and they have those DC Vertical shows, it makes sense. Now what about iZombie? But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't think they were going to do that, but I thought that was pretty cool. I think Riverdale's Riverdale's not a DC Vertical thing, but it'd have been pretty cool if I saw other CW shows get brought up in the mix, like Supernatural. If they would have went that route, that'd have been fucking great. Supernatural and Crisis on Infinite Earths. Let me find out. The next thing I like, Cisco is Vibe again. Yes. I mean, it didn't seem too bad that he didn't have his powers. It reminded me of the first couple seasons of The Flash, so I was already used to him, like, I already had the knowledge of him not having power, just him being powerless. But still, Cisco became so much more awesome as Vibe, which pretty much added already to his awesomeness anyway. So thanks, Monitor. If there's anything I can say that you've actually done that I really liked and particularly cared for, was you gave Vibe back his powers. Good. Vibe, we need you, bruh. We need you back. I was lost without you. Oh, here's something I didn't write down, but Vibe talking about the Anti-Monitor's name. He said the Anti-Monitor. Like, are we going with that, or can we like shop it a little bit? Yo, Vibe in his he's all like, you guys are just naming yourselves. You're not even consulting me. Oh man, Cisco he's on some other. But the next thing I like was Batwoman roughing up Lex Luthor. Now it wasn't much, and this is a stretch, I know. So just hear me out. But this kind of gives Batwoman another opportunity for a nemesis, even if he's not from the same Earth. Think about it. Now that Lex Luthor knows there are multiple Earths, multiple realities, and that we can move in and out of them like that, when everything gets put back in order, I'm pretty sure he'll be put back in place. I can imagine him finding a way to travel to Earth 1, but basically it just gives her another nemesis to deal with. I like that they made Constantine a regular floating character between the Arrowverse shows, and that he is he became a small part, but he was in Crisis on Infinite Earths. All right. I never got to see the NBC Constantine show from a few years ago, but it's the same actor in the same role, which is pretty cool. He does a great job of it. I still like the Keanu Reeves movie. It's actually one of my favorites. Number 6, Pariah brought in Black Lightning. Dark Spark went just as fast as he came in, but it's cool. Dark Spark. That's a great word. That's a nice little name for him. Dark Spark. Calls himself Black Lightning. Dark Spark. But I got to see him shake hands with the Flash in a way that bonded the two over tragedy, which was really cool. Like, seeing them shake hands made this real for me, that now he is officially part of the Arrowverse. It was like a way of welcoming him into the Arrowverse. But see, when I saw that, that's when I knew the real reason why they brought Black Lightning in, because up until then, remember, Black Lightning didn't have he wasn't visited by the Monitor. So if he was pulled in by Pariah, my thing is, and that's a question I should be asking at the end, is like, how did Pariah know to pull in Black Lightning? You feel me? Like, what kind of knowledge does Pariah have? If he's here just supposed to watch tragedy, he just pulls in Black Lightning out of nowhere, and it's like, wait, was you watching him? Were you spying on him? dude, creep, maybe. But honestly, Black Lightning really had no point of being there. I mean, holding the machine's energy, come on now, they could have written a better part for him. Like, honestly, when I seen that, I was like, I've seen Black Lightning do so much in his shows to reduce to him to just, you know. But like I said, it's cool. It's great. It was also great to see the 90s Flash, like, shit, you know, come up to him and say, man, you're a real hero. And then, you know, kind of like give him his nod of appreciation and stuff. That was pretty dope too. The next thing I liked was the homeboy ya dig nod between Diggle and Black Lightning when Diggle said, by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? It was like, there's a couple of them you could do. It's like, you know, you hear somebody say, by any means necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we do sometimes. It's like, or this one. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, you see, you walk into a room, it's just you and one other black dude. It could be a bunch of black females. It could be just a bunch of people in the room, period. It's just you and this one other black dude. You see, and you're like, it's an acknowledgement of, yeah, dog, I see you. If anything goes down, we ain't homies, we ain't cool, but the nod says, yeah, bruh. I don't know. I just know that I saw the nod. I've seen, listen, don't get me wrong. I see other races and other cultures of people do the nod. I've seen Asian dudes do the nods to each other. I've seen white dudes do the nod to each other. They just do it for different reasons, and they do it a little differently. You know what I'm saying? It's not too much different, but it's just context matters, bro. Context matters. He said, by any means necessary. It's like strictly for the black, yo. So, I said I was going to explain how I figured that the Black Lightning show takes place on Earth 73. When you're watching Black Lightning, you see that at the end of the Black Lightning episode, Jefferson gets whisked away, right? He gets transported to the Wave Rider. Knowing that, when you watch Crisis on Infinite Earths, there's a scene in which Lois Lane, I believe it's Lois Lane, is looking at the on the bridge of the Wave Rider. She's looking at, you know, images on the screen of the Earths, and you know, as they're being wiped out. She's talking about how she can't get her head wrapped around what's going on. She's watching the screen, and Earth 73 gets wiped out. Not even a few seconds later, the scene switches to the Flash, Vibe, and Killer Frost and stuff, all in the Anti-Monitor's room, where his machine is, and you see that after they pulled what's his name off the machine, off the treadmill, when they pulled the Flash from the 90s off of the treadmill, all hell started to break loose, and he said that was going to make them destroy, like, stuff faster. Like, everything was going to get destroyed faster. So I'm assuming that Anti-Monitor had a reason why he didn't want everything destroyed so fast. Which, because I'm like, if you could just wipe everything out in one fell swoop, why not do it? Now, once again, right after Lois Lane sees Earth 73 get wiped off the planet, get wiped off the map, out of existence, here comes Pariah transporting in Black Lightning right as they start seeing the machine is going crazy. That was like that was like moments later. This was literally moments later. Now, if you know TV shows like this, sometimes you'll have two separate scenes that seem like they're one after the other, but really they overlap. Okay, so in this scene, even though Lois Lane is watching Planet 73, Earth 73 get wiped off the map, she starts talking to the monitor. I believe it was the monitor. She starts talking to the monitor. Remember, Barringham is already in that room, in the Anti-Monitor's room. And then, as soon as they move to the next scene, with Barringham in the Anti-Monitor's room, Pariah brings in Black Lightning. So I just put two and two together, like, oh shit, Black Lightning is from Earth 73. I have been wondering which Earth was Black Lightning from this whole time, because I knew he wasn't on Earth 1. They dispelled that myth in my head when they showed the Earth 1 Black Lightning getting killed, shot in the head. And they showed the Earth 1 Jenn having that thing around her neck. And I know that the Jenn that we watch on the TV show, she don't have one of those things on her neck. Her dad didn't give up his powers. And he still was Black Lightning. And then there was no other Earths that I could think about besides the third Earth, which had the dark evil Jenn in it. And we all knew that was not, she had killed Black Lightning. She killed her whole family in that one. Like, that was a crazy part. She killed the whole damn family. Just, you know what I'm saying? And she basically got her dad on his knees like, yo, and then threw his little mantra back on him. But yeah, that's when I realized that Earth 73. So yeah, if you guys didn't think of that, check it out. Go watch it again. Watch the episode again. Watch Crisis on Infinite Earth Part 3 again. Look at that scene. And I just kind of put 2 and 2 together. Earth 73 is where the Black Lightning in the TV show is from. The next thing I like, Lois Lane. I gotta say, I got a thing for brunettes. She's kind of cute. She's not all that. I think she's got a lazy eye, but she's kind of cute. I don't know much about this version of Lois Lane, but I am hoping to get more knowledge of her when I catch up on Supergirl. And at this point, I'm starting to think that they're going to make another Superman series. I don't know. They may not. I think they should do something. I mean, even if it's like a limited run, I think they should do something with it. But quite honestly, I think we get enough of the soups when it comes to Supergirl. You know what I mean? And then they had that 10-year run of Smallville, so it's kind of like, you know, they put Superman in, but kind of left him a little lower, which I can understand. 9, the Supergirl Batwoman stare down. There was no sexual tension there, thank God, because I'm just like, I don't want to see these two girls looking at each other with the hots for each other. Not because I have anything against girls liking each other. Actually, I like that. But what I'm trying to say is, as far as a superhero context, it's Batwoman staring down Supergirl. It's as iconic as Batman staring down Superman. And since we don't have Batman in the CW, it's okay. We'll deal with Batwoman. But that stare down was serious. It was just two badass females with their own agendas. I mean, it was about to go down. But sadly, it didn't happen. Remember, I said before, I was pissed that I just did not like that they didn't let them two fight. When Supergirl, when Batwoman kind of said her spiel and gave Supergirl and, you know, basically made Supergirl think, like, hey, yo, if you do something with this book, it don't work. You know what I mean? And you get destroyed, we're all doomed because you're one of the paragons. I understand you want to go down this route, but like, think. You know what I'm saying? And this is coming from a person who, as far as her own show is concerned, sometimes she don't think about the decisions that she makes. So that was a very smart thing to say. Let me say something about the acting from Ruby Rose as Batwoman in this show, in this crossover. I don't know who, maybe it's the director or anything like that, or maybe it's just the writing, maybe they got a different team of writers. But to be honest, but yeah, Ruby Rose as Batwoman in the Crisis on Infinite Earth series, I like her. Like, don't get me wrong, I didn't particularly care for her in her own show. I didn't like her in her show. I don't know why. I've been trying. It's not, maybe it's the way the show is written. Maybe it's how it's directed. Maybe it's the way things are acted out. But something is off with Batwoman. Now, don't get me wrong. The last episode was pretty freaking dope, how it went down. But that's just one episode out of 8. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, seeing her in this, it's like a completely different person. Completely different. And I like it. I like it. Like, this is the Batwoman I want to see. Moving on. The next thing I liked was those throwback clips of the 90s Flash, where he was, when he was on the treadmill, he was getting ready to die, and they showed him and the girl Tina that was in. She's actually in the Flash show as a tech owner of a highly tech. So she's kind of in the same kind of role. She's just not the same name, not the same person. But the actress is the same one. So she's in the new Flash series. But to see them flash back to the younger version of that Flash from the 90s shows, John Wesley Shipp. That's his name, yeah, John Wesley Shipp. To see the younger version of him, it was a good thing to see, and it just reminded me of the show that I used to like when I was a kid. So, you know, it was pretty cool to see that flashback. In the 90s, the version of Star Labs from that show was like really tiny compared to what they do now with Star Labs. I mean, it was a whole building, but that one area that they mostly stayed in and did their work out of was really tiny. The next thing I liked was Supergirl basically giving Batwoman the okay to keep the kryptonite that she had stashed on her when she showed her that's what she had. Knowing that it could kill her, she said, keep it. Hopefully you'll never have to use it. Or hopefully you'll have the courage to never use it, or something like that. But see, to me, that's like a strong line of trust. It's like a bond. Just like Black Lightning and the Flash had their bonding moment right there, and Black Lightning and Diggle had their bonding moment. Batwoman and Supergirl had a bonding moment, and I can see that they're going to find a way to connect those two girls together. But you know, they're going to connect them together some way. So we'll see them together in more episodes more often. We'll see them fight alongside. Alright, and the last thing I would have to say that I liked about this, and this is where it got good at the end, the plot, was Lex Luthor. His plot twist at the end had me like, what? Wait, what? I didn't think that was going to happen. I should have known, but I didn't think that was going to happen. It just seemed like they shoved this motherfucker in a little fucking prison, and I expected him to be like put on ice, but he pulled like a Vandal Savage kind of move. Sorta. Bruh. That shit was crazy. He basically evaporated the Returns version of Superman to save his own skin from annihilation by the antimatter wave. Bravo, sir. Bravo. That was genius. Genius. This is why Lex is a genius. He did it because he tore a page out of the Book of Destiny. When he had the Book of Destiny, he was able to use it to see the future. And he said nothing to nobody. So what he did was he tore the page out of the book and rewrote his destiny on that page. So when that wave was coming to hit them, he knew he could take out the fucking page, you know what I mean, and invoke the fucking whatever he wrote. Bam. He ends up, and the Superman Returns version of Superman, the Brandon Routh version, he was one of the Paragons, meaning he was one of the important people supposed to be there to help stop the Anti-Monitor. That was the plot twist. When they did that, I was like, oh shit, son, that was the cliffhanger. It was something I never even expected. I should have. Knowing that Lex Luthor was there, I was like, he can't. No one thinks, because Lex Luthor doesn't do much talking. He wasn't doing much talking, letting people know much of whatever else. But he's doing a lot of thinking, and that was a straight up Lex Luthor move, definitely. So yeah, that's what I liked and what I disliked about Crisis on Infinite Earths. Quite honestly, I'm ready to see the rest of it, because after that cliffhanger, you know, like the episode was slow and prodding for the most part, and the battles between the Anti-Monitor and the Monitor was fucking lame. But there was some good moments that was like, oh shit, something's about to go down. And then there was some moments, it was about bonding. The characters in this episode, it was more about bonding than anything else. And I, for one, believe that this is what's going to happen going forward. That, well, a lot of the characters that had the bond, they're gone. They bonded with the main characters and they're gone. So we'll see what's going to happen. We'll see what goes on. But yeah, everything is destroyed now. Everything is gone except for whatever's in the temporal zone. And I'm wondering if the anti-monitor is actually going to have any of these alternate Earths and alternate multiverses put up when they find their way out of the temporal zone. Because all the Earths and all the different, that's a lot of Earth, yo. We're talking about billions of Earth. The anti-monitor is pretty freaking strong, or at least his machine was strong. It wasn't him that was strong, it's his machine that's strong. But alright, well that's it. I'm not going to talk anymore about this stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed my breakdown, my rundown, my likes, my dislikes. Please, at any moment when you can, if you like anything about Crisis on Infinite Earths or anything about Black Lightning or whatever's been going on in the past few episodes, please don't hesitate to put that in the comments. I want to read it. I want to see it. Let me know what you think. All right? And thank you guys for stopping by, listening to me run on my mouth and ramble on and stuff like that. Thank you. And I hope that, yeah, thank you. Please like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Add this to a playlist. Hell, download it if you want. Listen to it again, over and over. Hear my voice as many times as you want. Don't forget there are support options in the description below. All right, you can use those to support me in any way. Send a donation or something like that, or send something to me in the mail if you like. I put my P.O. box down there. And I appreciate any support that you guys give me. If you don't support, it's all right. A like, a share, subscribing, like that stuff is free. You know what I mean? A comment, it's free. And that's still support to me. Just viewing this stuff is support to me. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. This is Mr. 560, 560 Gaming TV. Until the next time, you guys, I'll talk to y'all later, man. Peace.